All right, everyone. What's up? They released a Q&A about the itemization changes, and so I just wanted to kind of go over it. I had a few questions and some big concerns myself when I saw their initial post, and I think they did a good job here today of really clarifying some of those points, and they made a few points that are making me feel a little bit more optimistic about the system. Not that I didn't feel optimistic going in. I know it will be better. It has to be better than the current system. So in order to sort of reflect on that, I've got one of my favorite weapons, probably my most used weapon, my first really good weapon that I got from my zealot over here on the left. And this is the screenshot. This gray axe, this Antax, is a screenshot that I took when I first got this weapon. And you can see by the screenshot name right here that I got this weapon on the day before Christmas at 8:01 a.m. because in 2022. So just if you are a newer player, we didn't used to be able to buy weapons from the store. In order to get weapons, you had to get them from every hour. The store would refresh, the ones you can buy that already have like blues and greens in there. Those were the only ones that were available. So you got, I think, 12 offerings and you had to choose from those. So getting a really good weapon of the type that you wanted was extraordinarily rare. And so in order to do that, I would log on at about, 2:55 or 7:55 or whatever. I would get the refresh, and then I would I would wait for 5 minutes until the next shop rolled over, and I would check that one too. So I could check two shops, and then I wouldn't need to check it at the end of that hour. I would check it at the end of the next hour. So every 2 hours, I would check in for the shops for about 5 minutes, and I would get up at 7:55 a.m. And check the shop. And one fateful morning, I got this lovely axe, and as you can see, I was blessed by Hadron. The blessings came out pretty damn good. I'm just a little bit off of perfect in terms of I would like that blessing to be a tier 4, but I was happy with it. But now with the new system, we're going to be able to fix that. Okay, this Antax is going to live on. And that was one thing I was concerned about, is what's going to happen to my weapons I currently have. Well, they just addressed that right here. First off, they're taking all the locks off. So no longer will there be any locks on these weapons. We can change any blessings or any perks at any time. It just costs resources, and you have to have the blessings unlocked. Now, the other thing is we will be keeping any weapons we have. So if you already have perfect weapons, you don't need to worry about it. However, I don't think that applies to a huge faction of people, especially because if you have a perfect weapon right now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the perfect distribution. Because a perfect weapon is a 380. It is not a 400. So you are going to be missing 20 points from somewhere on here, because if these were all 80, you'd have a 400. So somewhere on here, you'll be missing 20 points. And where you are missing those 20 points makes all the difference. So this weapon is actually nearly perfect. The only thing I would like is this cleave to be maxed out. That would absolutely max the damage. And all the rest of them, the 15 remaining points, or what is it? I'm missing 12 points. So that the rest of the 7 points can go right here. I'll take a 60% in mobility because it doesn't have any real effect on the axe. So that's how the weapons are going to work. You will keep the weapons you have, and we'll make changes to them. They can only get better. All right. So there's a set of questions down here talking about mastery and TLDR. Basically, currently, if you have a weapon and you strip a blessing off of it using Hadron, well, now that blessing is in your library, and you've probably noticed if you tried to craft a new weapon that those blessings don't apply to some weapons, but weapons within the same family, you can carry them over. So for instance, if you have the Agrinpa shotgun and the Cantrell shotgun, those are both the shotguns, the assault style shotguns that load multiple shells and you rack the pump. Those shotguns are all in the same family, so they share blessings. But the double-barreled shotgun as far as I've found. I don't think it does. But to give a more clear example that I actually know what I'm talking about, the Antax is a combat axe. There are, I think, 3 combat axes, the Rashad and something else. And then there's 3 tactical axes, the ones with the really fast flurry of blows. They have different pools of blessings. They don't have, they have some that overlap, sure, but they don't share them between each other. So if you have mastery, say with this combat axe, you aren't going to have it for your tactical axes. Now, they're talking about down here, you will basically, based on the number of blessings you have unlocked by turning things into Hadron, you're going to fill up your mastery pool, your mastery experience, and then you spend that experience to unlock the blessings and perks that you need. So if there is one blessing that you're targeting to make a certain build work, you can rush for that, which I think is really, really good. And there's a person who asked the question. Well, I think they have more of a passive aggressive comment later down, right here, where they say, question. So every weapon, question. This system is the anti-choice system. It's the system that forces you to grind every single weapon family before you can try a build. And first of all, it's not a question. And second of all, I think this system is going to be way, way better because currently I have so many builds I would love to try, but I am limited by, I don't want to drag a weapon out there that's like got a 340 stat line, is missing a bunch of potential stats, and my blessings are like tier 3s instead of tier 4s. Right now, I have not gotten lucky enough to get the tier 4 burn on the Recon Lasgun. So I don't really feel like I'm going to use the burn build a whole lot just because it's about 3/4 as good as that tier 4 perk is, right? It doesn't do quite nearly as much damage. So if I want that build to work, I need to roll a shit ton in order to get the right blessing off of there to put it on. With the new system, when I start getting mastery for Recon Lasgun, you know the first perk that I'm going to buy, and it's going to be that one. I'm gonna start at perk level 1 because I'm pretty sure you have to level each blessing. You buy the first tier, then all the way up, and then I'm going to get that level 4. I'm going to slap it on my gun because that's something that I'm going to be able to do. So I think, as I say here, it's actually going to make it way better because you can target certain blessings that you want, and that's what like makes builds in this game. Is there certain blessings that go with certain weapons that like enable builds. I'm talking about the soul blaze spreading on the void staff. I'm talking about the burn on that. I'm talking about armor stripping and bleed on daggers. So we all understand that this is actually going to make it way better if you are trying to make a very specific weapon. This is how you're going to do it. And this is way, way better than randomly hoping, praying to RNGesus that it'll work. Okay, that's enough ranting about that. Okay, this is another really great thing, which I did not expect, but we will still keep all the systems we currently have for getting weapons. So we can still get weapons from Emperor's Gifts from completing a mission. You get better ones for completing higher tier missions. And we will still get weapons from Milk. We can still buy weapons out of the armory. So you can still get really well rolled weapons. And then, and you can also still consecrate weapons with Hadron. So even if I hadn't unlocked tier 4 Shred, if I'd gone in and consecrated this weapon with Hadron and it's popped up, well, it's on the weapon. I effectively have it. I might not be able to craft it onto other things yet, but I have it on that weapon, right? So that is one way that you can get powerful weapons. And they aren't taking anything away from us. Like I'll tell you right now, I have some weapons where I haven't claimed both of the blessings. In fact, I'm pretty sure I haven't gotten tier 4 Shred on any other combat axes. So I probably don't have this in my library, but since it's on my axe already, what are they going to do? Take it away from me? No, you get to keep it. So I think that is a fear assuaged there. Okay, let's get down to talking about some real complicated business. So there's this system called expertise. Now, putting mastery aside, mastery is just to do with the perks and blessings. It's given to you by playing harder missions and completing those missions. You can do low tier missions and speed run them, but it's probably going to be faster to be expedient to high tier missions to get mastery experience. And then Once you have full mastery, 100% mastery, you will have all blessings and all perks unlocked. And remember, you can change these at any time. It just costs resources. However, we also have these stats up at the top. And what they're telling us now is that instead of like it currently is, where when you go to the stupid shop and you buy 10 Antax axes, well, it can roll anywhere from 300 power level to 380, right? So you have a 1 in 80 chance, and I don't think it's linear. I think there's like a bell curve, it feels like. You have like a 1 in 80 chance of getting a weapon that has the maxed out stat. Well, that is gone. Now, every weapon that drops will have 80 or 380 points available to you. And you can see it over here on the right. They've got sort of these gray bars, and I'll tell you right now because I already did the math. All these gray bars here add up to 380, the maximum that you can currently have in the system. And so the only thing we're going to be fighting with when we're getting random weapons is, do those gray bars reach the stat line that we need? And that's not always maxed out. I'll give you an example. Again, the Recon Las gun, it has a damage of 59, and if you have a damage stat between 80 and I think 75, it stays at 59. It doesn't matter if you have a maxed out damage on that one. So you can put those 5 points in another category. So it is very, it's going to come down to like looking at the breakpoints of the weapon and stuff like that if you want to get really meticulous with it. Otherwise, most weapons have at least one of these that's a dump stat, right? One of the, like for this shotgun, it's probably mobility that you wouldn't care about so much. So we're going to be able to max out all of these, but it depends on where this gray bar is. So what you'd want to find is, a weapon that where these gray bars all say 80, 80, 80, 60, right? That's what you want to find. But, that's still going to be kind of annoying, right? It's still element of RNG. However, instead of like before, where we have a 1 in 80 chance of getting a 380, now we have a 100% chance. Every weapon that drops is going to have a potential of 380. It's just going to be a problem of where it's distributed. Because currently in the system, the problem is do you know how many fucking Antaxes I had to get before not only did it roll with enough stats, but they were in the right categories? Because I had at least 4 of them drop that had perfect damage, penetration, first target, but the cleave targets was below 50%, which means that you can't go through chaff enemies. You literally can't penetrate even a single enemy with this axe. So that was a huge fucking boner kill, and I had to trash all of those because it would make me like way less effective at hordes. So it's going to be so nice now that all these weapons are guaranteed 380s. And the way that works is we have this thing called expertise, and that is literally just how much resources are you going to invest? Talking plasteel initially, and I think for higher expertise, it's going to be diamantine. So finally, we can fucking get rid of all of our diamantine. How much, you can see it right, that's their mastery score. You can see it up here, their expertise. How much resources have you invested in this weapon class? And once you have maxed out expertise by dumping plasteel and diamantine into them, they will drop with these bars already full. I'm sad that they didn't show us one where that's the case with a higher expertise stat, but that's what it means. Is like, okay, once you have full expertise, these will already be full. So you'll just literally just click and re-roll, and when one pops out that has all the bars maxed to wherever you need to be, you're good. So it'll be at least 80 times easier than the current system. All right. They are saying right down here, so going past this stuff, they are going to keep weapons that are unique to character classes. However, there are going to be more weapon families shared between all classes. Shotguns are going to all classes. I don't know if it applies to Ogrins, but I think that's really good because there are certain weapons that make no sense. Why certain classes can't have them, and it would be like crazy if you could. It makes no sense that a veteran couldn't just drop their stupid power sword and let a zealot use it, right? I think that having to like pick a certain class to use a certain type of weapon is kind of lame. It'd be cool if some of that's more flexible. And then I missed it somewhere in here. Let's try to find it. Here it is. This is the last thing I want to talk about. We are still experimenting with the exact time investment needed to fully unlock all blessings for a certain weapons family. That is something that I think they'll have to tweak a few times, personally, because there's a fine line between giving players something to like work towards and being really really annoying to get. I think that they realize that their stretch goals were pretty high for most players. For instance, with the latest update with the penances, they lowered the requirements for completing missions with hazards for the green, sort of the glowy green portrait frame, as well as the portrait frame for getting. I think it used to be 1 million kills, and now it's 500,000 kills. So I think they're understanding that like people don't really have that much time to invest in the game. So hopefully, unlocking all blessings is not like crazy like ludicrous, you know, amount of work. Because I'd like to get the blessings that I need and then move on from weapon, right? I don't want that to take me 10 games just to get like 2 blessings or something. And then, most interesting of all, we will also be adding more tiers to most blessings, making previously higher tier blessings available at lower tiers. So, what that means to me is instead of having 4 tiers for some, like most blessings, they're now going to go up to 6 or some other thing like that. There'll be these higher tier blessings will now be available lower down, and then the higher they'll be even higher. So that would be crazy. I mean, like in general, I think it might be getting close to time to introduce a 6th difficulty challenge for us, because especially if you can create weapons that are going to have max stat lines and perfect blessings, that's going to boost player power a lot. Probably on an order of like 20%. So this is going to be a really big change, and yeah, I'm excited to see it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon, and hopefully we'll do something to celebrate 100 subscribers in a day or two. Thanks. See y'all.